We have seen through observing phenomena in nature, such as spirals or flower petal counts, that a certain sequence comes to mind, and it is the Fibonacci sequence. So I'll write out the first few numbers. As you saw in Vihart's video, we don't have to start with the number 1, but we will start with 1, 1 in our class. And so we just add 2 to get the next. So we have 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, let's just write out a few, 89, 144, and so on. And of course, and so on means that we could continue by just adding 2 to get the next one. In this video, I would like to introduce you to notation that is used with the Fibonacci numbers and makes life actually much easier than harder. So here it is. We'll call, first I'll give it to you in general, capital F sub n. Notice that the n is a small font lowered as a subscript. Fn, we say, or F sub n, is the nth Fibonacci number. I'll just put fib, the nth Fibonacci number. Now n can take on the values 1, the first one, 2, 3, 4. N takes on the values of the natural numbers. So if I write f sub 1, you know that that is the first Fibonacci number, which is 1. And f2, f sub 2, is the second Fibonacci number, and I just count over twice, and I see the second one is also 1. Well, let's try f6, the sixth Fibonacci number. When you see f sub 6, in your mind, say the words, the sixth Fibonacci number. So you just count over 6 places, and you see that 8 is the sixth Fibonacci number, so we say f6 is equal to 8. Well, how about f10? The 10th Fibonacci number, let's see, there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, is 55. Is the equal sign. The 10th Fibonacci number is 55. That's how you read that. It's very important for you to read symbolic notation in sentences in your mind. These are just shorthand notation for full sentences in your mind. So at the top of this slide, I've written out the first few numbers in the Fibonacci sequence. So let's try to read this notation. If n is 6, what is f sub n plus 3? Notice that the n plus 3 is the subscript. It's not equal to f sub n plus 3. Notice the 3 is not in the main line there. It's f sub n plus 3. So be very careful to see that these are not the same thing. We want, if n is 6, we want f sub 9, 6 plus 3. The 9th Fibonacci is, well, just count over, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The 9th Fibonacci is 34. So our answer is C. Oh, and it's also F9. So here we have 2 correct answers. The 9th Fibonacci is what we want, and the 9th Fibonacci is 34. So these 2 are the same thing. You have 2 correct answers there. Okay, so first, notice again that I have written the Fibonacci's at the top for you. And on any test, I will write out the first few for you. So put it on pause and see if you can solve this problem. Now I'll solve it. F3, that is the third Fibonacci, which is 2, counting over, plus F sub 7, the seventh Fibonacci, would be 13. So 2 plus 13 is 15, and I find that part B is true. I don't know how A and C could possibly be true. That answer doesn't make sense, but the answer is part B. It is equal to 15. The next question, let n be 5. What is f sub n plus 2 plus f sub n minus 2? You put it on pause and see if you can solve it. Okay, so be always careful. When you write, you've got to be very careful to be clear as to what is the subscript and what's on the main line. Here we see that the subscripts are n plus 2 and n minus 2. And let me just show you what students will write sometimes. Let's see, I'll change colors here. Let me do yellow. Sometimes students will mean F6 and they'll write this. Well, you don't know what that means. Or F sub n plus 2. They'll write F sub n plus 2 like this is written properly here. A student might write this and then something like that. Well, I can't tell if that is F sub n plus 2 or F sub n plus 2. Here the 2 is added to the subscript, and here the 2 would be added to the nth Fibonacci number. So be very, very careful with your notation. So back to this problem. This problem was f sub n plus 2. Well, n is 5. So 5 plus 2 is 7. This is the 7th Fibonacci plus, and n minus 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. So that's F3. Now the 7th Fibonacci, if you count over, is 13. And the 3rd Fibonacci, counting over, is 2. And 13 plus 2, of course, is 15. So our answer is 15. Okay, so here we have 5 times the 11th Fibonacci plus 11 times the 5th Fibonacci. It's just like writing in high school, you wrote 5x, meaning 5 times x. If I write the 5 before the Fibonacci notation, it means 5 times F11 plus 11 times F5. So let's see, that will be 5 times, I use a dot for times instead of x's, F11. Well, what's F11? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. 5 times 89 plus 11 times F5 is 5. 5 is the 5th Fibonacci. So you can multiply that out by hand or on your calculator and you'll get 500. So this is equal to 500 and we pick choice C. Okay, again, I hope that you had put this on pause and have done this yourself. Here we see that the parentheses tell us that we are squaring. Notice that's an exponent, superscript, that we are squaring the 6th Fibonacci. So the 6th Fibonacci, counting over, is 8. So this is 8 squared, or 64. The answer is C. Now this problem, again, the parentheses tell you that you are squaring a number. And that number is 2 times the 7th Fibonacci. So let's see, I'll keep the parentheses on and write 2 times. The 7th Fibonacci is 13. So this is equal to 2 times 13, which is, oh, excuse me, I should have put the square here. 2 times 13 is 26, and we are squaring 26, which is 676. It's 26 times 26 is 26 squared. So choice B. So this one might be a little trickier. Here it says let n be 2. And then it gives us an expression involving n in 3 different places. So all you do is rewrite that expression, plugging in 2 for n. So it's very mechanical. This will be f sub, well, 2 plus 2 is 4, f4, and if you want, you could keep parentheses on it. We're going to be raising it to the power n, but n is 2, so we're going to be squaring it, minus 5 times 2 is 10. So you just plug in n, and now we'll carry through. Our parentheses tell us to square the 4th Fibonacci, which is 3. So that is 3 squared minus 10, or 9 minus 10 is, of course, negative 1. So our answer is part A. Okay, so let's see if you got this one right. Here, n is 4. So the first thing I do is just plug in 4 for n. Replace n with 4 everywhere I see it. So I have f sub 4 minus 1. So that's f3 cubed minus 5. The 3rd Fibonacci is 2. So that's 2 cubed minus 5. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So this is 8 minus 5, or 3. So part B. So the last thing I would like to do in this video is find a way to say how to generate the Fibonacci sequence. We could say it in words. We could say, well, we have to say that the first Fibonacci is equal to 1, and the second Fibonacci is equal to 1. And then we could say thereafter, the next Fibonacci number is obtained by adding the 2 before it. Okay, so that would do it. That's a way to generate. That tells us exactly how to generate the numbers in the Fibonacci sequence. You have to know what the first 2 are, but thereafter the next one is obtained by adding the 2 before it, and that certainly is sufficient. But we can say that in a much more simple way by using this notation, symbolic notation that you just practiced in the previous slides. Let's say, here I'll change my color here. Let's say that f1 is equal to 1 and f2 is equal to 1. We have to say that. But now how could we say thereafter the next Fibonacci is obtained by adding the 2 before it? Well, why don't I say f sub, let's see, the next one, maybe I'll say f sub n plus 1 is equal to the sum of the 2 before it. Well, the one right before it is f sub n, and the one right before that is f sub n minus 1. Think about it. If n is 7, this tells us that f8 is equal to the 7th Fibonacci plus the 6th Fibonacci. If n is equal to 2, this tells us that the 3rd Fibonacci is the 2nd Fibonacci plus the 1st Fibonacci. So this right here says exactly what the words above said, but we also have to say the values of n. So here, since I wrote f sub n plus 1 equals f sub n plus f sub n minus 1, I want to start n at, let's see, we know f1 and f2, we want f3, so we start n at equals 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and in fact, n takes on all the values of the natural numbers. So this is the generating formula for the Fibonacci sequence. You really should know this. Include this in your notes. Another way we could have said that, I didn't have to use this exact sentence. I could have said, well, f1 is 1, f2 is 1, and thereafter f sub n is, f sub the one before it is f sub n minus 1, and the one before that then would be f sub n minus 2. This says exactly the same thing, and there n starts out at 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. So there's more than one way you could say it. But the shorthand notation is something that you should know and know how to write a generating formula for the Fibonacci sequence.